and welcome to this week's Hi-Fi News, etc. For this particular video, I've got some Hi-Fi news you'll be surprised to hear, and I think we have 5 of those. I've got a trivia question, which I'll give to you in a moment, and then there's a Hi-Fi tip hints thing focused on vinyl cleaning. So we'll get to that a bit later on. For now, here's trivia. And we're staying with theatre and film studies as a theme for this week's trivia. And the question is this: which Californian singer-songwriter played a real star of the silver screen in 2004 in Martin Scorsese's film about Howard Hughes? One more time, which Californian singer-songwriter played a real star of the silver screen in 2004 in Martin Scorsese's film about Howard Hughes? And if you need a couple of clues, we're talking about a lady. And the second clue, I would say a music star of more modern era. You're not looking at 60s, 70s, or even 80s star. I would say something a little bit more modern in approach this time around. Have a little think. I will give you the answer at the end of the video. In the meantime, Hi-Fi News. Firstly, a turntable from Luxman. It's the PD191A. And Luxman, well, it's released a rather nice looking belt-driven 3-speed turntable spanning 492mm by 128 by 399mm and weighing in, that's a quite substantial 26.5 kilograms. If you factor in the dust cover, which is sold separately. Specifically developed for this turntable is the fully adjustable 10-inch LTS710 tone arm, featuring knife edge bearings and a removable head shell. It's been jointly developed with the tone arm specialist outfit SAEC, and that's a company who's been designing tone arms for 40 years or so. The arm base itself is independent of the plinth, so you can fit arms from other manufacturers if you so wish. You can also buy an additional arm base if you fancy a 12-inch arm. That works with a 35mm thick high-mass platter that's been machined from a single billet of aluminium and uses a peak thrust bearing. That is pushed by a brushless DC motor offering high torque with clock speed correction. All of that sits on a plinth with an aluminium top panel and a wooden front panel. The top of the plinth holds the power, start, stop and speed selector buttons with pitch adjustment buttons just to the right of those. You also get an LED stroboscope to maintain speed accuracy. Price is £10,999. Next up, we have price cuts, a little price cut news item based on the Dragonfly Cobalt and the Jitterbug FMJ from Audioquest. Now, the Dragonfly Cobalt USB DAC and that price drop will continue until the 31st of December 2023. Previously, in terms of dollars anyway, the price was $349.95 and the price has now come down to $199.95 in dollars. That means in euros we're looking at £199.95 and in pound terms £179.95. Then we have the USB noise filter, the Jitterbug, which normally sells in dollar terms at $69.95. These are now available in cut price terms, not in single units but as double packs for some reason. and those packs for 2 are priced at $99.95. Now, that dual pack thing is not available in Europe and the UK. In Europe and the UK, you can buy just the one if you fancy. Not quite sure why that is as it is, but even so, if you want to buy from a European dealer, that will cost you €34.95. And funnily enough, that's the basic same price for the UK, £34.95. Next, we have WiiM and the WiiM amp, the first streaming amplifier from the company, as the company terms it. This is basically a Class D amplifier offering 60 watts into 8 ohms, and it features a pair of single-ended RCA ports, optical port, although there's no coax for some reason, HDMI ARC, there's a subwoofer output, and USB for music-loaded USB sticks. You also get Ethernet port and speaker binding posts. Wi-Fi is also included, as is Bluetooth 5.0. Sound can be tweaked via EQ settings via the available WiiM app. Room-ready certification is expected soon. Price is £299, $299 or €349. Oh, and of course, other WiiM products like the WiiM Pro and the Pro Plus can connect to this new amplifier. Haven't heard from Bryston in a while. Well, now we have. They're offering the BP19 preamplifier. This one is handmade in Canada. The BP19 preamp features an oversized toroidal power transformer, 2 pairs of balanced XLR input sockets, 4 pairs of RCA inputs. There's 2 pairs of RCA outs, 1 pair is fixed, 1 pair is variable, and it's the same with the balanced XLRs. 2 pairs of those, 1 fixed, 1 variable. For the first time, Bryston is offering the BP2 moving magnet phonostage circuit in the case as an onboard option. Bryston also offers specially designed custom-made step-up transformers to accommodate low-moving moving coil cartridges. Each of the 6 analog inputs can be controlled via the supplied remote, the front panel, or remotely using RS-232 or IP when connected to a smart home ecosystem. The BP19 is available with 17-inch faceplates in silver or black, or 19-inch to order. Prices, well, there's a few of those. We have the basic preamplifier at £5,395, with the moving magnet phonostage, that's £6,395. If you want to increase that to moving coil, that's £7,395. There is a generous 20-year warranty here. The actual preamp and all its options will be available to buy during December of this year, 2023. Next we have Elipson and some speakers, the Heritage XLS7s. These are stand-mounted affairs. They're 2-way speakers, and this design provides a 6.5-inch mid-bass driver with a front-mounted bass port. And above that is a, well, it's not a 1-inch, it's more like 0.87 if you want to be picky about it, 0.87-inch silk dome tweeter. On the front of the cabinet, as you'll see here, you'll also find a fine tune controller, which changes the amplitude of the mid and high frequencies, which may help you to compensate for difficult rooms, you might say. Stands are expected for these speakers, although the prices for those have yet to be confirmed. What I do have is a price for the speakers, and for a pair, you're looking at £799. That's your hi-fi news. Let's go for a hint and tip. Now, this hint and tip is more of a clarification, and it relates to my vinyl cleaning guides that you can find on my website right now, and I'll put links below if you haven't seen them or you fancy taking a quick look. Now, these guides are long, extensive, and packed with info, and I'm not surprised that sometimes confusion can occur. That's understandable, and I'm here to help, of course. One or two of you have said that you'd like me to talk a little bit about glycol, because there's a bit of misunderstanding going on here. So what is it? Why is it there? What does it do? Glycol, or propylene glycol to give it its proper name, and a word to the wise, do not buy ethylene glycol. That's nasty stuff. Stay clear of that. You want to buy propylene glycol. And that's fine, it's harmless, it's been used in foods, it's been used in ladies' makeup, it's all over the place. And the reason I include glycol in vinyl cleaning is because it keeps surfactant in place. Now, I apply diluted surfactant. In my case, it's tergitol. You might use ilfitol. There's a few out there. And I apply that directly to the vinyl surface. And that's used to break down surface tension inside the groove. Now, if you don't use surfactant, surface tension will form a barrier, and it'll prevent the cleaning action getting really close inside the groove walls. Now, on a micro level, surface tension is a pretty powerful force. It's a powerful barrier, but surfactant breaks through that barrier. It allows the cleaning action to snuggle right into the groove itself, and the cleaning job itself is a lot more efficient because of that. Problem is, if your cleaner is vertical, like the manual disco antistats, for example, or a whole heap of ultrasonic cleaners, well, you're fighting gravity. So when you apply surfactant to your horizontal vinyl disc, and then you turn it vertical and you put it inside a cleaner, then gravity will start pulling on that liquid. It will start pulling it down the record. So a fair amount of that liquid drops out of the grooves or settles in the bottom part of the groove only, which you don't want. You want the surfactant to remain in the grooves, covering all of the grooves to enhance cleaning efficiency. So how do you keep the surfactant in those grooves when the vinyl disc is vertical? Well, you mix your chosen surfactant with glycol. That's how. Now, I talk about proportions and containers and applicators and all the mechanics of the stuff in the guide itself. But in general terms, when you mix the surfactant with a touch of glycol and you mix them all together, then the glycol part allows the surfactant basically to stick to the groove even when vertical. It prevents the surfactant being pulled away by gravity, well, long enough for the cleaning action to do its thing at any rate. And yes, I've done the A/B tests on this, and I can hear the difference between glycol and no glycol, and I much prefer glycol being added. The effectiveness of the overall clean is reduced in a vertical cleaner when glycol is not used. Anyway, I hope that clarifies the case for glycol. But, as ever, if you need my assistance, please give me a shout in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help. And that's it, folks. Thanks very much for staying to the end of this video. And before we go, let's give you an answer to that trivia question. And the question is, which Californian singer-songwriter played a real star of the silver screen in 2004 in Martin Scorsese's film about Howard Hughes? And the answer is Gwen Stefani. Stefani played the part of 30s blonde bombshell Jean Harlow in The Aviator, in which Leonardo DiCaprio played Howard Hughes. This was her first appearance in the movie, and to prepare for it, she read 2 Harlow biographies and watched all of the starlet's films. Now, this may not have been the best use of her time because she was only involved in the film for 4 days, and her main surviving contribution is her walk down the red carpet at the 1930 premiere of Hell's Angels on Hughes's arm. So now you know. Anyway, I'll be back next week with another hi-fi news, etc., and I hope you can join me then. Until then, folks, bye-bye for now.